So Leo, your week commencing the 6th of January forecast begins with Mars in your sign, still in that opposition to Pluto, which peaked last week. It is possible that something you feel very, very strongly about, and it may be around a relationship matter, is causing some tension with the other side. And it's because potentially you have a different relationship to the issue itself. Because Mars inverts back into your 12th house, where it arrived on the 5th of September through to the 4th of November, if you think back to that period of time, and particularly on the 3rd of November, when Mars and Pluto went into the first opposition, that may be when the issue that's just peaked really started to build up. You're being asked through to the 18th of April to in some ways go into a period of very deep reflection, which in some ways seems very counterintuitive to a sign like yours, which can have such a charismatic interface with other people. But Mars in the 12th house is a very powerful influence, and it's going to be in retrograde through to the 24th of February. So there's a delicate change right at the start of this week, something you feel very strongly about, then can feel very emotionally impactful upon you. And maybe you're going to find out that someone has a different set of values to you, and maybe there is also some information that's been withheld from you. Mars in the 12th house is terrific for understanding our deeper desires, but it can also see issues from the past be ignited, issues that we may have felt that we dealt with long ago. So at times we can feel suddenly very angry, at other times very sensitive, even all the way to crying. So just be aware that through to the 18th of April, this is a time when you may not feel quite as up to manifesting that more outgoing, independent, charismatic part of your nature. And if that's the case, don't beat yourself up about it. In fact, at the start of this week, Mercury, which has been making its way through a very playful and social part of your situation, but in so doing, being in a retrograde and forging a number of seriously challenging angles, not least to Saturn, and it is in another one to Neptune at the start of this week. So trying to cut through the information that you have and make sense of it could prove elusive. But you get an opportunity to do that from Wednesday. Mercury moves into a drier part of your chart, but one which can help you to analyse the detail. Events can start to go through your mind, and you can really look at them in a frame by frame way. It's also a great time if you have been thinking about getting more virtuous in terms of your diet or fitness routines to engage with that plan in a much more meaningful way. But if your personal situation is pretty cool at the moment, but you're wanting to make progress around your professional or worldly interaction, as this week goes on, the Sun in the practical but ambitious Capricorn links with Uranus, the planet of change and innovation, in the most visible part of your scope. There could be an opportunity professionally that just comes out of nowhere, and it may be incredibly exciting for you. And you know that Mars in the 12th house suggests that this can be linked to someone influential that you had contact with in the past. Could be an old colleague, an old boss, but equally Mars in the 12th house can help you to dive deep into your past and bring up old talents and experiences in a fresh way. So there can be positives with that, and the link between the Sun and Uranus can certainly help you to showcase them. But of course, Jupiter, the planet of growth, optimism and fortune, is still in a square with Saturn. Saturn over the last couple of years has brought a more scrutinizing energy to anything you share or anything where you're deeply invested emotionally, financially, romantically. But Jupiter is in a retrograde still. And I think when it comes to certain friendships, if you are planning any kind of collaborative ventures where investment is going to be made, you really do need to make sure that you use Mercury in Capricorn to pick over the details in a very precise way. There's another dynamic playing out for you this week, Leo, that part of you that's been very self-sacrificing, particularly since 2008, there may be some resentment around that could come up this week, not least with the quarter moon, but also with Chiron on Thursday. If you feel that you've given up some of your personal freedom in order to support others, and then someone hasn't been as honourable or as trustworthy as you would like, that could be a major part of what's percolating away deep within your emotions. But if you do need to understand those very meaningful connections with others by Friday, late on Friday Universal Time, we do have the North Node, the point of destiny, inverting into Pisces, but it does link with Neptune and the Moon. That's a very, very sensitive combination. So just be aware that the emotional transformations that are possible with Mars in the feeling sign of Cancer, where it's not at its best, but also for you, the 12th house, which is particularly tender and psychological, there may be something that you need to work through, and you may need some privacy and time alone as this week draws to a close. Have a great week, Leo. And if you've yet to watch your year 2025 deep dive video, please see the link beneath this one.